And welcome to this episode of the Dodger and Trash Show. I am Dodger Man. Yeah, that's right. And I got Trash over here. Say hi, Trash.
Howdy.
And our special guest for tonight is a Twitch streamer. He's been streaming for a little bit now. We'll get into that as we get to know him a little bit more. But we have Boomshakalaka. How you doing, man?
Hey guys, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on tonight. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, not a problem. So we got a little surprise for you.
Okay, yes.
So anytime you bring up a good point, we're gonna play this sound right here.
Boomshakalaka! Boom!
So yeah, so you just got boomshakalaka, son.
I like that. That's
yeah. So anyway, so yeah, let's talk about you, Boom. If I may call you Boom. How long have you been streaming on Twitch for?
well. So I was streaming. I started in about the early stages of April. Basically, what happened was COVID-19 hit, and I worked at a casino.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at a casino, I should say, and they were forced to shut down about the middle of March.
Ooh.
And so I kind of found myself kind of home, not really doing a whole lot, and I was playing a lot of MLB The Show.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of looked at my fiance one day, and I was like, well, what if I start streaming then? I was like, there might be, a little bit of, it might be lucrative, and I might be able to, obviously streaming and stuff is things I enjoy doing, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe make a little money on top of it. So
Right.
I got all the equipment set up and everything, and I started streaming, and I fell in love with it. And I was streaming, God, maybe at least 5 days a week, if not 6 or 7 some days.
Okay.
But my son was born in May.
Mm-hmm.
Little boy. We call him Baby Boom. He's been on the stream multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I was streaming for a while, and I was staying up a lot. Because right in the beginning, babies, they don't want to sleep during the nighttime. They like sleeping during the day.
Right.
And so basically, I would stream, from 9-10 o'clock in the evening till like 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock a.m. And then I'd be up all night, and then subsequently. So after a while, I would say maybe a few months into after Baby Boom came, it got a little hectic, and I had to take a step back. So I'm currently in the middle of got a new job last week, and my first day of work is tomorrow, so I'm super that. Currently in the middle of trying to find a house.
Okay.
And do all of that. So life is starting to sort of come back together and sort of make it so that way I can come back. And I plan to actually come back no later than the first of the year. I have a big thing, that I want to do. I definitely, when I put the tweet out to say basically, hey guys, I got to take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
I said this isn't goodbye. This is a see you later kind of thing, because I don't want to give up on the community. I absolutely love the MLB The Show community. I love watching you guys play. And I frankly enjoy playing the game, no matter whether or not Mickey Mantle can't catch a fly ball some days. And other times like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I generally love this game. I fell in love with it. And it's something that I want to keep doing. So we're coming back eventually. But so life, like I said, life is starting to work itself out and get a little more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's gonna open the doors back up to me coming back to content, and it's not gonna stop from Twitch. I want to get my YouTube going and things like that. So it's gonna be exciting when I come back, and I'm ready.
Oh, good.
So.
Yeah, I can I can see where you're what you're talking about there, because I work. I'm a what they call essential. I can't talk right now. I'm an essential worker. I work at a food processing plant, or a meat processing plant, And this last week, I worked 60 plus hours, 12 hours or more a day, and it's just been really hectic on us. But I have not been able to stream as much as I would like to. I mainly stream on the weekends now, except for today I didn't stream at all. I had to. I'm sorry. I've been just so exhausted with my whole schedule. I just couldn't bring myself to get out of bed. I know when I got home on Friday night, I was in the bedroom laying down with my wife, and she was watching. We had just gotten done watching The Mandalorian, which if you haven't seen The Mandalorian, you got to catch up on those episodes. But we were. She was just doing her thing. I was on my phone working the market, and I figured out that way that I was telling you about. You could take these prospects, and there's such a huge price gap between the buy now and sell now prices that you can just make a lot of stubs quickly. And so I only needed like 2 vouchers for the MVP Mike Trout card, and I got those. I finished up the Home Run Derby collection, and then after that I needed a few more prospects. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can actually do this tonight. And so I got the card. I went to the PlayStation, did, put everything in, boom, unlock Mike Trout. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to check him out tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning comes, I'm just like dead. I cannot get out of bed. I have no energy to get up and stream and play the game. So yeah, that was. I've probably missed out on I don't know how many subs and follows because I just don't stream as often as I would like. But speaking,
and that's what I miss. Sorry to cut you off, but
no,
that's what I miss. I miss interacting with people every day, and you get your regulars that come in. I know Trash was usually in my streams a lot, and that was a lot of.
Yeah.
And so, it's what I miss, and I'm ready to come back.
Well, good.
Hopefully by the beginning of the year.
I hope to check out one of your streams. I know I dropped you a follow. I think I got my notifications on, but I think. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So speaking of the game, this was a big week content-wise. Some finest players dropped. I shouldn't say some finest players. There were a lot of finest players that dropped. You're a Mets fan, Boom. How do you feel about the finest players that came out for the Mets?
Well, I think a lot of the Mets fans in the Twitch community really thought that the base 99 Mets finest was going to be Dom Smith. DeGrom got a finest card last year. That was fantastic, in my opinion. It was a little suspect online, but I thought stats were good, and it was what DeGrom deserved. But Dom Smith really just kind of took the advantage of Cespedes opting out due to COVID and Pete Alonso not playing up to his rookie year, which obviously was one of the best rookie years in my opinion in the last 10 years. And he really took that and ran with it. He was in the top 5 in batting average for a very long time. And, I really thought he deserved it. But, when DeGrom came out, I go, the only thing that's going to make this card good is if it has the velocity, because for the first time, even since DeGrom came up, he was pumping in fastballs. I watched every single one of his starts. Granted, I didn't watch every Mets game because life gets a little busy, but I made sure to watch every one of his starts, and he was averaging triple digits. I mean, this guy was throwing gas that we hadn't seen before ever. So I was like, this guy needs outlier, and boom, there's outlier. So it was very exciting for me to be able to unlock that card, right away. Because obviously I don't have all the infinities done, but that was the one that I made sure that I had all the way up to Al Leiter.
Right.
I got to make sure that I get this done because who knows who's going to come out. So I do end up having I did buy Dom Smith the other day, so I have both, and I have yet to to dabble in online with him, but I know Dom Smith. I can hit the ball pretty well online with him, so I'm excited. I'm excited to use both those cards.
Oh yeah, good. I think I just picked up Dom Smith yesterday. I did some of the conquest modes for the Angels and Dodgers, and I picked up Dominic Smith from the Dodger conquest one. I cannot talk tonight. I don't know what is going on, but I don't know too much about him, but he seems like a really great player. What are some of your other non-Mets finest favorites?
Well, I think everyone talks about the two best, in my opinion. I think it's got to be Juan Soto, and it's got to be Manny Machado.
Mm-hmm.
Mookie Betts is up there for me, but me personally, I don't swing the ball. I don't hit the ball well with Mookie. Even his live series card, I don't know what it is. I just can't hit the ball with him. But I actually finished the Mets Conquest, and and then I got the extra pack from the Mets Team Affinity. So I got two finest packs, and I pulled the rare round twice. And so I picked,
very nice.
I picked Lamet and I picked Ronald Acuna Jr. And I'll tell you what, and I've got the card pulled up right now. His defensive stats for Acuna are what's going to save this card, because his contact right and left is extremely high. Obviously, he's maxed out power against righties, but I mean, he's got 93 fielding, 99 arm, 99 acceleration, 99 accuracy, 93 reaction, so along with 91 speed. So I really think he could be used late in games as some sort of like defensive replacement if you needed him to. So as of right now, and another one, I mean, we got to talk about these relievers that they dropped. You got Nick Anderson, you got Liam Hendricks, and Devin Williams. I think. Devin Williams. I mean, Devin Williams. He's got. I used his live series card a little bit. I never heard of the guy until about 3/4 of the way through the season. Because I don't see a lot of Brewers games. I don't see a lot of Brewers games. I don't hear a lot about the Brewers unless it's Christian Yelich. But this guy stormed onto the field, took over. I mean, guy didn't even have a sub 1 ERA for most, if not the entire year. Yeah, he's got a 5-pitch mix. Got those meta pitches. He's got that cutter. He's got that sinker and a changeup with the primary. I mean, it's a card I'm grinding toward, looking to pick up and looking to use online. So I'm very excited, and I think they did a really good job this year with Finest. I'm very pleased.
Yeah, I know. I grinded for David Fletcher. I just like you. I had the Angels and Dodgers already at 100% before the Finest dropped. So I was all prepared because I'm also a slight bit of an Angel fan myself. Mostly a Dodger fan, but anyway. So I was all ready for Finest to drop. I have been working on a little bit of the others, but I'm still far from it. From getting to where the Finest are. But you can't sleep on that David Fletcher card. He's got sneaky pop. I mean, his I can't remember. I think he says it's like 60 some power, but he plays over that. I used him a little bit in one of the moments, and he just crushed a ball like 400 and some feet. And I know Cougs used him in one of his videos, and he just mashes the ball. What about you, Trash? What are some of your favorites? Some of your favorites from your team, and some of your overall favorite cards of the Finest.
Well, I'll put it out there first. I haven't grinded for any of them, nor do I have any. However, I can still answer the other half of that question. We'll start with my favorite team. Y'all know it's the Cubs. Expected. I definitely saw it coming. Now that I realize that that Finest are more of based on the season and not necessarily fan favorites. So I mean, I think I think he was the only one off the top of my head that I can name that was rightfully deserved of it. Granted, I could start listing stuff, but that'd take too long. Anyways, that Juan Soto looks cracked out of his mind. I know a lot of people like him. A lot of people like the Devin Williams, the Nick Anderson. Not so many people like the Liam Hendricks. I know last year I loved his finest card. I'm trying to think. The DeGrom and the Cole don't look all that good on paper. I know with the finest DeGrom, I was able to hit him very well, so I don't necessarily think he's gonna be one of the better ones. No offense, Boom. I just don't think DeGrom's really
that's
all
your
that
opinion.
worth
You're
it, but
entitled
that's
to
just
it.
my,
You know.
my
Shakalaka!
as well as the.
I owed you a boom shakalaka.
Oh, okay. The Cole and DeGrom, no matter what card you have, whether it's their live series, their finest, or whatever card it is, I always feel like they're super hittable every single year or every game. Same thing there.
Right.
That JT card looks interesting. I probably ain't gonna try him out unless it's like a BR or something.
Mm-hmm.
I know you brought up Fletcher. Fletcher, in my eyes, I know in real life, I don't know if it'll translate. I think to answer your question, I think he's got 65 power against both sides.
Okay.
The problem with that, in my opinion, is for one, it's too low. I believe off the top of my head, without looking at the card, Fletcher is definitely more of the contact guy,
Mm-hmm.
and more of a field guy.
Yeah.
If you're gonna use him in like a rain game, maybe even an event game, he's probably not gonna hit any home runs for you by any means. I mean, yeah, maybe some inside the park home runs, but if you're looking to hit over the wall, I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
That's just kind of that's why I think he's gonna be so weak. Maybe like your 1, 2, or 8 hitter, he could be productive and get you on base and whatnot. You could get lucky and maybe be able to drive some into the gaps. But I don't know what his speed's gonna be, so I don't know.
Right.
But Fletcher is gonna be one that kind of lackluster. Like I said, I can start naming quite a few off that I think they're bad. But that's just my opinion on it, because you think about it, when I said Cole and DeGrom are easy to hit, maybe that's just for me. Maybe you guys absolutely suck against them. I wouldn't know unless I actually watched or something. So just because I say something doesn't mean it's gonna translate to y'all.
Yeah.
So I could go out and say Yu Darvish finest card is the best pitcher out there because I can't touch him. Okay, well you could go up and face him and just wreck him, and then you're like, oh, this card sucks. It all depends on what you think and what your outlook on the card is. So that's where a lot of people too. When you look at a card and their stats look super good, but then when you actually go and use them, they're absolute garbage. But now now that I brought that up, the 99 themes, his stats are insane, right? I can't hit for anything with him, so I think I yanked him off the team or I benched him. So I guess it all depends on if you're good with that card. So if you're good with the DeGrom, or you're good with that Cole or Darvish or whatever card it is, yeah, use them. But if not everybody's gonna like them or be good with them. So I guess if you're going strictly finest, it's gonna be more of opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, there's a collection out there, so if you want to go out and collect them, go right ahead. But in terms of team and stuff, I don't need them. My team's already as loaded as a no money spent guy, and quite frankly, I don't want to grind. I think I have 2 that were 100% until finest came out, and that was the Twins and Cubs. I know I very, very slowly will start working towards the finest, and like you'll get them completed, or you'll get your prospects and your future stars cards. But I'm not gonna like sit down and do the exchanges and do these little missions. It's just not my cup of tea.
Right.
I'm a hardcore online grinder, whether it be ranked, event, or BR. Anything that has to do online, I'm sitting down and playing for like 4 hours straight.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think about that too. Well, I grinded for Babe. I think I did a little bit for the World Series program. But then you're probably thinking, well, that's all offline grinding. Well, yeah, but they were kind of easy for me. So
Yeah.
I guess there's ways around it. But I think overall, I know I kind of went on and on about this, but I guess on overall for finest, huge W.
Yeah.
The
Agreed.
one thing I didn't like is one, the event reward, which was the finest creates from last year, and some of the collection that were this year. Although I loved the Arenado card last year, uh, that Lindor from 17 and or 18 doesn't look that good for me. Granted, I suck with Lindor, so I guess if you're gonna go ask somebody what they think of finest, all of them are gonna go something opinion based. So I guess it depends on what you like and who you want to grind for.
Yeah.
Kind of sum that up. Like I said, I think I kind of blabbed on there, but
No, it's okay.
yes.
I did want to touch on one thing. What boggles my mind is that the finest Kirby Yates card, which it says it's an event reward. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. 31.
When I batted against that card, it was batting practice for me. I would have people come in event games, bring out their Kirby Yates card, and I'd just mash homers off of them. So, as I'm seeing it now, the buy now for it is 128,000 stubs. Really? For a, I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't see why SDS chose that particular card to be an event reward. I mean, they could have used, and I'm going to be a homer again here and say the finest Cody Bellinger card from last year. I think that card was a probably one of the best cards in the game.
It was.
And I just everyone, even last year, could not stand that Kirby Yates card. People were just saying that was probably one of the worst cards in the collection because people were just hitting so well off of him. And I don't know. I want to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Well, I think the difference between Kirby Yates this year and the Kirby Yates last year is really it's the meta. Even his live series card this year was god awful.
Mm-hmm.
I had it in my bullpen for maybe a nanosecond, played one game, and I took him right out because I'm like, this card is exactly what you guys said. It's Big P. He doesn't have a cutter, doesn't have a sinker. And I've got the 99 right here. You would think his hits per nine and his Ks per nine are up there, and even his pitching clutch are up there. But
right.
I don't know. It's just not the meta this year for him. And even to go over to the Nolan Arenado, I think those hitting stats could be boosted up a little high.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what seems to be, MLB The Show 20 is that you get 99s with insane hitting stats. You even look at Nelson Cruz, who's got 125 left and, contact left con power left, and then, he's got decent hitting stats against righties. So you're seeing a lot of these 99s with kind of boosted up, hitting stats this year compared to other years, in my opinion. Now, I started playing MLB The Show in 2018. So MLB The Show 18, which was not a good start for me. I played the game the first maybe few months of the year and kind of just gave up on it because it was so bad, and then later in the year as MLB The Show 19 was getting announced and coming out, I came back around to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I really sat down and started playing really in 19, last year, and the difference I think this year is, and Trash, I think you've touched on it before even in your live streams, is that the no money spent grind is so much easier this year.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't spent a dime on this game since May, early June, and that was only to finish up Mickey Mantle.
Mm-hmm.
So I got Mike Trout completely free. I've got all these other 99s, on my team. I was telling you guys before the show, I just got the World Series award, Mike Piazza, for nothing, just by grinding and doing all the inning programs and selling those guys, and I am nowhere near a World Series player.
Yeah.
I'm more of the opposite. I'm more of the opposite of Trash. I'm really I do a lot of offline grinding. I've done all the conquests. I'm gonna do in time all 30 of the new conquests that have come out, and so I like that grind a little more. But so I've dabbled a little more in ranked seasons, and that was because of streaming. Because everyone likes to see online ranked seasons play with your team and how you're doing and this and that. So it's something that in the back half of this game, as this game comes to a close and as 21 gets announced and released, that I'm gonna kind of put my head down and just try and get into ranked seasons and try to go to it. But to come back to the point on these finest cards, there was these two, the Pat Neshek that you get at 5 and the Luis Severino that you got at 10. I never saw those cards because I didn't start playing until 18.
Mm-hmm.
So and these cards, just by looking at them, Neshek's got that little funky release, but the sinker only hits 91, 92, and the per 9s aren't really up there. So, maybe you can get them on the funky release, but it just doesn't seem like a good card for me. And then the Luis Severino doesn't have outlier, and it only has a cutter. So, I mean, maybe you can kind of, mess with your opponent there. But I think as you get into Division Series and Championship Series and you start playing on Hall of Fame, I think those cards are kind of useless.
Yeah. I know for me, I have a hard time hitting somebody that has the sidearm delivery. I'm not sure why that is. It's just always hard for me to get underneath the ball. I always get on top of it and hit a grounder to the second baseman or somebody. You mentioned ranked seasons. I tell you what, I had 2 games today, and I used them for my video. The first game I had, the guy just quit on me instantly in the first inning. Didn't even take a net bat. He was like, "Oh, this guy's got a squad of Mike Trout, Mickey Mantle, Manny Machado. I'm out." So I was like, okay, well, that's an easy win. I'm up above, I'm at 430 now, whatever, I'll take it. Mm-hmm. Next game I get, you were mentioning about how you don't hit well with Mookie Betts. I have my finest Mookie Betts leading off. He hits a little bloop double. So I'm like, all right, we're off to a great start. But I love, if you have that MVP Mike Trout card, Boom?
I just got him the other day. I basically had some leftover stubs from when I bought Mike Piazza, and I looked at the Home Run Derby collection, which was the one I was closest on, and I saw those cards were going for about $77K a piece, and I had that much. So it took, I think I put in the last buy order for Yoenis Cespedes, and then I went to bed, and I was like, well, listen, this is either going to go in or it's not, and I woke up the next morning, and it was there. So
nice. What about you, Trash? Do you have that finest MVP Trout card?
Something that I'm really proud of is I also, in that same Piazza, I got Mike Trout, and I also...
I don't have Trout. I've been very, very slowly working towards it. I just got Mantle yesterday, believe it or not, so that just tells you how much I've been going for them.
Oh, yeah, I noticed that, yeah.
I think, in a way, I know... Yeah, I know Boom touched on it just a little bit briefly, but selling the inning bosses were huge for me. If I knew I wasn't going to use them, I sold them immediately. And I guess that's what really helped me get collections done. Like yesterday, DeGrom was the only card I needed. He was literally up and down. And, at one point, I think he was at, 200K. And then he dipped down to, 145. And then I'm looking at my stub count, I'm like, wait, I need you to go down just a teeny bit more. And so I had to leave yesterday afternoon for, I think, 2 or 3 hours. Just before I left, excuse me. He got down to about 141K. I bought him for about 141K. And that's what got me to him. I suck with Mantle, but I will eventually get better with him. I say that because I'm not taking the best swings with him, so it's partially my fault, if not entirely my fault.
Mhm.
So I just gotta have better approaches with Mantle, and I can probably get his average back up.
Right. So, I'm sure you guys, you, at what time do we see the market come back up? Because I know the market took a heavy crash. So, yeah, do you guys think the market will be back up in like what 2-3 weeks maybe? I know it's kind of hard to predict.
I know when was the MVP Trout dropped, everything exploded and just skyrocketed in price.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely what caused it. But now you look at live series, especially. I mean, Trout at one point was 150K, and the entire year he was maybe 500 plus.
Right.
And like I said, DeGrom was going up and down, and all the, like Arenado. Arenado was one of the bigger ones too. He was one of the highest price guys, and he goes for a quick sell now.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of live search, I don't see him going back up anytime soon. We're getting to that time of year where everybody's got their God squads, and the majority of people have grinded for what they want. So I guess in a sense, the market isn't as valuable as it would be at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got guys out there that are still trying to work on stuff, and then the prices just keep rising, and it gets out of their price range. So I mean, and then you got what's called, well, I call them market hawks. If you don't know what that is, when you go and buy and or sell a card, and they just keep undercutting you every second, it's annoying.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily would say I fully understand the market. Like I could tell you decent tips on flipping and all that. But in terms of going up at all, not likely. I mean, you might see a lot of the bosses or any 99s either stay where they're at or take a huge skyrocket in price. I wouldn't say it's going to be leveled or what it was at the beginning of the year, but I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not a market expert, but it's very, very unlikely that it's going to change. That's why nowadays when you pull a diamond, you're not happy, or at least I'm not.
Yeah.
Unless you see like an awards card, prime card. But then when you pull them, they don't go for anything. And now I think it's that kind of time of year where people are just going to waste their subs if they have what they want done, whether that's finest, Trout, Mantle, whatever the case is. So I guess the market's really not valuable anymore. But I couldn't tell you a definitive answer. That's just kind of my take on that one.
Yeah. What do you think, Boom?
I mean, I agree with Trash. I think at this point, live series cards are kind of obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing a lot of, signature series. You're seeing a lot of these cards coming out now, and that are just better than live series cards. And I think, in my opinion, the reason that Trout's dropped almost 100K is because of that MVP Trout. And the other reason that I think DeGrom's gone up is because it's kind of one of those. It's kind of the gateway card to Mickey Mantle. So, if it wasn't for Mickey Mantle being, in my opinion, still probably the best card in the game, I think DeGrom's price would be about 100K, and you would look at these higher tier diamonds and go, okay, So it kind of makes me a little discouraged now that I just hit prestige level to get to that 90 overall, high diamond pack, because now especially there's so many 90 plus overall diamonds that are going for quick sell value that it's just kind of depressing. Really the only good one to pull that's worth even getting to that level is DeGrom, and it's just kind of upsetting. But that's just the market nowadays in MLB The Show 20.
Right. And you mentioned Mike Trout. I had his debut in ranked seasons in my video, and 2 at bats, 2 home runs, just like easy as pie, dude. And I made the guy rage quit. So he and this guy had MVP Mike Trout, and this is another thing I don't understand. You're down 4-0. Guy had a God squad himself. it was only going into the bottom of the third inning, and do I don't know if you've noticed this, but it seems like a lot of people just rage quit now. They just disconnect or whatever. They don't want to play a full game. They don't want to come back from behind. I actually find it challenging to come back from like a 3 or 4 run deficit. I tend to focus a little bit more. I tend to play a little bit better when I'm behind. I enjoy it. But have you guys noticed that as well too?
I've definitely noticed that. I can remember off the top of my head, there was a game where bottom 9, I was down 7. I kid you not, 7. I came back and scored 5.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my problem with being down in a BR game, okay, maybe it's a little different, but in terms of a ranked game, I get frustrated, especially when I'll have games where I shut my opponent down the entire game, and then like the 8th or 9th, they put up 5, 6, 7 runs. And it just makes me so mad because then I keep telling people, especially on stream, they're just sweating. Because if I'm shutting them down and I'm picking the exact same pitch and they're like way out in front of it, and then they just now pick up on that, then why weren't they picking up on the beginning of the game? Like, I didn't change up my strategy, I didn't change up my location. So maybe it was they were finally able to pick up the pitches and the location and stuff, but I always come to the conclusion that they're just sweating because they're losing. And today, in fact, I had a game that I almost mercied the guy, but then towards the end of the game, I think in the 9th, he put up like a 6 run, he put up 6. I still won that game, but in going into the 4th, I only needed, I think, 2 for the mercy. But then this guy was just firing on all cylinders and was just red hot, banking everything, but then like the first 2-3 innings he was shut down. And I was mindful because if you tell me that like you give me a scenario where you're getting shut down or whatnot, then how are you coming back if you can't touch my guy or my pitches, but then all of a sudden can string up 5, 6, 7 runs? I can't wrap my mind around it because I think it's the most weirdest thing, and when people sweat, it makes the game so much worse. There's times where they'll put up 5, 6 runs. I mean, this is what not on sweats. You can tell if they're sweats if they swing at literally every single pitch. I had a guy like that the other day. It took him till the bottom of the 9th to take a pitch. And I'm like, dude, if you're not sweating, then I don't know what you're doing. But it drives me absolutely insane because I keep telling people, if you sweat or you get bailed out by the game, you're pretty much guaranteed to win. You can't beat those two combined.
I know when I was
so frustrating.
Yeah, I know when I was playing BR once, and I was down 6 runs in the top of the 3rd, and I wasn't really expecting to come back, and I was just like, let's just play it out, whatever, I'll just redraft. I tied it up. I had like 2 or 3 homers, tied it up, and evidently the guy did win in extra innings, but I was pretty proud of myself for coming back the way I did when I could have, quit. Are you noticing that, Boom, that people are quitting more often, or are you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, me not playing a whole lot of ranked seasons every ranked season, I get reset to 400 a lot, and I tend to, I'll get if I go into a real deep session of like, all right, I'm gonna sit down and play ranked seasons until my eyes bleed, and then I play, 4 or 5 games in a night. I may have 2 or 3 rage quits, and then the rest are just sweats.
Yeah.
I'll get up to almost 600, and then I'll just start playing sweats and just start losing because that's my thing. If I get down by more than 2 runs, my PCI focus goes all over the place, and I just start panic swinging. So it's a real bad habit of mine. It's just I try to get all the runs back in 1 inning, and then if I don't, then it kind of goes downhill from there. But
right.
Yeah. I mean, and what sucks too is that once they quit out, if your pitcher throws even one pitch, you lose like a good portion of that pitcher's stamina, so you can't even use them
Exactly.
for the next game.
Exactly.
It's really frustrating now with that whole with the whole energy boost that they did.
Yeah, and I hope that's something that they fix in the next game. That's just it's your pitcher shouldn't you know have to use so much energy in a rage quit like that. Um, I wanted to bring up one thing that I forgot to bring up last week, and as you can see, I'm wearing my world champion Dodger T-shirt. I'm telling you what, for I will say this about this shirt. It's my Dodger Man Game shirts that or that you can or anyone can order on Teespring. A little free plug there. Um, these T-shirts are not as good of quality as my Dodger Man Games shirts, and I don't. They're just so thin. I mean, like, it's just I could see through it. So anyway, um, but
Good for that California air.
yeah, exactly. But the the day after the Dodgers won the World Series, I don't think I slept maybe 4 hours after they won, and I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get ready to go to work, and I'm getting dressed, get my little rubber boots on, and I'm getting ready to head out the door. And I'm looking for my keys. I'm like, I can't find my keys. Where did I put my keys? And I don't want to wake my wife up, and I got my little flashlight on my phone. I'm looking around for it, and can't find it, and my wife just bought a new car. When was it? It was like around, I want to say March or April of this year, and she's been so sick she doesn't get to drive it very much, and that hurts her baby. And it's like a 19 or 2019 Volkswagen Passat, I want to say. Anyway, no, I don't. It's a really nice 2019 Volkswagen, and I was like, I don't know what else to do. It's like 15 minutes before I have to go to work. I'm gonna have to take her car. So I take her car. And this is the first time I've actually driven her car, like, past the driveway of our house. And so I get a message at lunchtime. Found him. Okay, I'm coming home. We can swap cars again. So I come home. Yeah, they were on the bed. My keys were on the bed. I don't know. I was so tired when I got home. I went and laid down and was starting to listen to the game on my MLB app, because I had this superstition that if I watched the game, they're going to lose. And they were already losing at the time, so like I'm not even going to jinx them anymore. But yeah, I had my keys in my pocket and they fell out, and I was so tired. Anyway, so going on from that, there is something I'm going for. Justin Turner did issue an apology for going onto the field and celebrating with the team. Do you guys think that an apology was necessary?
I'm not gonna. I'll warn you now. I'll kind of get in more and more into this. Me personally, no. I'm probably gonna have multiple people like, oh yeah, you're wrong, whatever the case is. In my eyes, first of all, we can't find out if he had it or he got it from somebody either way at all times.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I brought it up when it was that episode when my thing was, I'm pretty sure they were tested before game or like every week or every day, whatever the protocol or schedule was, whatever. And then during the game, it's super common. Now, I think, feel free to correct me, but in terms of like diseases, bacteria, I'm pretty sure like all that's gonna fly through the air and the oxygen anyways. I could be wrong on that, but with especially when animals and it's gonna get spread throughout the air and the oxygen anyways. So we can't really necessarily say that he had it. He most definitely could have picked it up from something or someone, and that's kind of what I think is gonna be more interesting. I think he apologized so he didn't get all that hate and people being mean about it, and he just went out and apologized and basically forgot about it and moved on. Now, if I'm in that situation, I guess I wouldn't necessarily do it. I also do feel that Justin Turner just kind of did it to kind of get that taken care of in a way and forget and take care of whatever else he needs to do or whatever the case is. But I guess for me to go on and on and on, it's if the fact that they test pretty much every day or however often, and if he didn't have it, then he's perfectly fine to play. But there's also that scenario where he definitely could have picked it up in mid-game, and that's kind of what I'm leaning towards because he left mid-game. So I'm thinking he picked it up from somebody else that had it, or I wouldn't know how other else he got it. So I guess in a way he may feel bad, but I know it was I think either the Bellinger or Seager interview. I know the whatever his name is, the commissioner or whatnot, told everybody, yeah, he was immediately quarantined in isolation, whatever. But I think the main thing was, especially with the Bellinger interview, like they kept saying that they're happy for Kirsch and him getting a ring. But to my knowledge, nobody brought up the fact about Turner and his situation at all. Right. It just seemed like they forgot about it, was totally too focused on Kirsch and getting his ring and the team getting the ring. They completely ignored the fact that he was even a part of the team. So I guess maybe the team should maybe rethink stuff like that. I kind of am all over the place and whatnot. But if I'm Turner, I wouldn't necessarily feel bad that it happened. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it'd be a great time hanging around with your teammates and whatnot. But I guess it's hard to tell. I mean, if you're looking at fan perspective, yeah, most likely it was right for him to apologize. But if you're looking, if you're like a staff member or a player point of view, well, then it's kind of hard to tell. You know, you're in that moment where you're celebrating and doing whatever you do to celebrate, champagne, talk, whatever. But I think it gets to me even more that the Dodgers completely forgot he existed for a minute. I just think they got wrapped up in everything, and that's even the more thing is the interview guys kept bringing it up, and they just kind of said what was happening, like he was quarantined, and then they ended the conversation there. And then I check over on Twitter, and every post I'm looking at or tweet, it's just prayers up, hope you get better, or stuff along those lines. And I'm thinking and literally scratching my head and like, why aren't the coaches and the players recognizing that Turner's not there? So, but that's the controversy where Turner was one of the biggest hitters and your highest hitters. Okay, yeah, that would be true. But then I brought up the point, Mookie was on fire, Seager was on fire. Your pitching was, for the most part, locked down. So would it really matter if you had Turner or not?
Right.
And I think a lot of people just forget that it happened, you know? You get too wrapped up in something and you forget, I guess, the important part. And what I mean by the important part is Turner's well-being and his health and stuff like that. It just, why was it just ignored, you know? Especially coming a guy from Cody Bellinger and just his personality, I thought for sure that was one of the first things he would have said. But no, he brought up Kirsch, and of course he answered the questions and all. But why aren't you bringing up your teammate who's really just sick and not there? And when you're part of a team, you're a family. At least that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And when you're missing a part of your team and or family, then you would think that you would notice that they're gone, you know? But no, they completely didn't realize that, even though I'm 100% sure they knew what the situation was, and it blows my mind. But you're gonna have people that are gonna disagree, and they're gonna try to start arguing with you. And people, it's just an opinion. Just leave it alone, you know. And,
so,
yeah.
what do you think, Boom?
I mean, to play a little bit of devil's advocate to trash, especially in the moment there. You know, when you said that Cody Bellinger interview. You know, in my opinion, it's kind of in the moment. You know, you just won the World Series. You know, and that's kind of as a pure athlete, as a baseball guy. You know, Cody Bellinger has probably been thinking about being a baseball player ever since he could walk. And you know, every little kid that wants to play baseball dreams about winning the World Series. So when you actually win the World Series after trial and tribulation, after year of almost grabbing that brass ring, you know, after finally grabbing it, in my opinion, I think that's all you think about in that moment is, holy crap, you know, we finally did it. We finally got over the hump.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, Justin Turner, you know, and obviously I love Justin Turner. You know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he left the Mets. He never really got a chance in New York with David Wright being there, and he went on to bigger and better things. And I could not be happier for him that he's a World Series champion now. But you know, again, in the heat of the moment, I think he realized now that he messed up, and that's why he issued the apology. You know, a lot of people will say, well, he had to issue the apology, otherwise he looks bad. But, you know, in my opinion, and this was said, you know, this was debated for at least a week, you know, all over mainstream media, you know, in the moment, you know, does it kind of go, does COVID and the whole thing kind of, you know, somewhat accidentally go in the back of your mind, and all you want to do is be out there with your teammates? And you know, I think that's kind of what happened, is that, you know, he was so focused on finally winning the World Series, and you know, all the struggles he got, you know, all the struggles he went through with the Mets organization, and not really be given a chance to finally getting to the Dodgers, becoming a staple third baseman. I think one of the better third basemen in the league, and you know, finally, you know, getting to that moment that every baseball player dreams of winning a World Series. And you know, I think emotion just kind of took over him on that night, and he was just kind of like, listen, I'm going out here with my teammates no matter what. And you know, in my opinion, I think it was a mistake, but you know, it was a lapse of judgment, I guess.
Right.
And you know, I think he thought better of it. You know, obviously, you know, it's been a couple of weeks since the Dodgers won the World Series, and now he's had time to think about it, and he goes, okay, you know what, I messed up. I made a mistake. And you know, you can't be doing that, especially in this COVID era that is now. You know, and just the whole circumstance of him finding out in the middle of the game was weird, especially because they're supposed to be in a bubble, and it was just like that whole sequence was just strange to me, and I watching it live didn't really kind of get it. You know, like how do you find out? How do you find out about a test, you know, halfway, if not almost all the way through the game? You know, he got pulled out in the 8th inning.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, protocol is protocol, and that's something that, you know, we have to be very cautious of in these times.
Right. And I made the point last week that nobody, to my knowledge, had tested positive, and on the team or in the organization. And I just pulled this up here. There's been 9 members of the Dodgers organization that have tested positive for COVID. Now, it doesn't say who they are. You know, it could be totally unrelated to Justin Turner, because, you know, who knows how people get this nowadays. I've known people who have done everything they can do to protect themselves from this virus, and they still get it. In fact, Freddie Freeman even said that he was wearing masks, he was social distancing, he was doing everything he could, and he still caught it.
Right.
So
right.
we don't know who did this, so we can't say that it was because of what Justin Turner did. But I just hope that everyone recovers and is fine. I know I just found out a few days ago my first ex-wife has COVID, and I don't mean to chuckle about that. Of course I don't. But I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, so football. Let's get into some football. We had a huge week. Actually,
let's get into
yeah, yeah. And I see you're a Bills fan. The Bills had a huge win against the Seahawks.
I gotta tell you, I was a little skeptical about this game, especially the way the Buffalo's been playing the last few weeks. The way they didn't really play well against the Jets. Obviously, they didn't play well against the Chiefs or the Titans. They got blown out of the water basically by the Titans, and Derrick Henry made Josh Norman look like a little kid. But and really, those two losses that they had, one to Tennessee and one to Kansas City. Josh Allen didn't play well, and today he showed that he needs to be in the conversation, I think, for MVP. Mm-hmm. 4 total touchdowns and 0 picks. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, so Wilson had 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
And I think if Josh Allen can stay that consistent, why not put him right back in that? Put him right back in that. Put him right back in that conversation.
Right. I was really happy that the Bills beat the Seahawks because I'm a Rams fan, and anytime the Seahawks get beat, that's a win for me. But
you're welcome then.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. So you live in New York then? Is that right, Boom?
Yeah. I live in upstate New York. I've been a Mets fan, a Bills fan on my entire life, and I live and die by both teams.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the edge of my seat in 2015 when the Mets made that magical run to the World Series. I was a little kid when Adam Wainwright struck out Carlos Beltran in the 2006 NLCS, and
Mm-hmm.
and the subsequent years of up and down with 2007's debacle and then 2008 just kind of falling apart. And I was born in the middle of the Bills 4 Super Bowl runs. I was born in '93, so I was kind of a little kid to that. So
yeah.
With the Bills, it's been kind of nothing but somewhat sadness up until the last couple of years, and
Mm-hmm.
until we finally found a franchise quarterback and started to sort of turn the corner. Now I think we have one of the best receiving corps in the league, and I couldn't say that 10 years ago. I couldn't even tell you who our number 1 receiver was 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
because the Bills haven't had that. So the Mets were a little disappointing this year. Obviously on paper they look great, but that's how they've been the last couple of years. You have Noah Syndergaard that has that Tommy John right even before COVID had hit.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question that me and Trash like to ask.
We already knew he was going to be in that. Roman got injured, and then he decided to opt out, and Cespedes opted out, and then it just kind of went sort of downhill from there. And like I said, I touched on it earlier. The 2 bright spots, I think the 3 bright spots in the year were DeGrom, Dom Smith, and Michael Conforto.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely for the Mets, they were the 3 most consistent players for the Mets this year.
So here's a question that me and Trash like to ask of our guests when they come on the show. Who was somebody that you were pleasantly surprised by with their performance, and who was somebody that disappointed you in their performance in the Mets this year?
Well, I was pleasantly surprised from a rookie shortstop, Andres Jimenez. I mean, the guy basically, the only reason he was on the team was because of COVID, and he stepped into the role and basically kind of took the job from Ahmed Rosario.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy plays fantastic defense, and he showed that he can hit the ball a little bit. And I'm excited for the Mets shortstops for years to come. Ahmed obviously at the end of the back half of 2019 was hitting the ball really well, and he still plays pretty good defense. But I think the combination of those two can really help us out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of a glaring disappointment, and it's very unfortunate. But Pete Alonso just did not play well.
Right.
I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the sophomore slump, but he just every time he got going a little bit, he just kind of tapered off for 2-3 weeks, and you saw in the last couple of weeks of the season, flashes of his 2019 magical run with as many home runs as he hit. The guy can still hit for power. I think he still hit 12 or 13 home runs this year, but just the average was down, the strikeouts were way up, and it was really unfortunate to see in kind of a wash season again for the Mets. I think we finished tied for last, if not dead last in the division, which was not something that Mets fans had seen. But
yeah,
we're on to better and brighter days now that the Wilpons are out of power, and Steve Cohen has decided to step in and graciously lend us his ginormous wallet. And we're going to go out there and sign some good talent and keep building on what we have and adding better talent to it.
Good. So I told you I had my Mike Piazza story. I'll go ahead and tell that now. I was at a Dodger game. I believe it was '95, and the Dodgers had just lost a game to the Philadelphia Phillies, and we're leaving. Me and my buddy were leaving Dodger Stadium. And I was in the Army at that time, stationed in Fort Irwin, California. It was about a 2-3 hour drive away, I want to say. Maybe about a 2 hour drive. And some of the Dodgers players are coming out of the locker room, and they got this chain link fence, separating the fans from the players, and they're getting into their cars. And people are wanting autographs. And I will say this. Only one person signed autographs for almost every single fan, and that was Mike Piazza. And he went from one side of the fence, or from one end of the fence all the way around, and when he got to me at the end of that fence, he told me, "I'm sorry, man. I gotta go. I got an early game tomorrow, and my girlfriend's waiting for me." And I saw him. I saw his girlfriend standing by his Lincoln Continental. I was like, I understand, Mike. Because my wife is upstairs, and his girlfriend was hot. Oh my gosh. Anyway. So yeah, that's my Mike Piazza story. Just a phenomenal guy. I think the only other person that actually attempted to do autographs was Hideo Nomo, and his interpreter actually passed out pre-signed pictures of him, which I thought was very impersonal. But yeah, I'm gonna just throw out a name to you, Boom, and let's see if what you think of Scott Norwood.
I don't know a lot about Norwood.
Okay.
I think that was a little before my time.
A little before your time, okay. Yeah,
just a little bit.
That was a game that I remember very well. The Bills and the Giants game. I for a couple reasons, because I think that was one of the best renditions of the national anthem that I had ever heard sung by Whitney Houston. May she rest in peace. And just one of the most exciting endings, even though it was so disappointing for the Bills. But I think Scott Norwood is the Bills fans have forgiven him, and
definitely. I would agree.
Yeah, and
as much as I don't know about Norwood, I do have a little bit of a funny story. So I was maybe 18, and I was interviewing at the local drugstore for like a kind of a part-time gig, and the store manager there's a huge Giants fan, and so I come in wearing my Bills kind of like spring jacket, and we didn't talk about the job for 2 seconds. I think maybe, he was like, hey, this is the job, this is what it pays, do you want it? And I was like, yeah, sure. We basically talked about, football the entire time, and he was at that Super Bowl. Between the Bills and the Giants, and he was sitting behind him were 2 Bills fans. And so, Norwood goes to line up this kick, and, it's on the right hash, and the Bills fans, look over to him and they go, hey, watch this. He's going to miss it wide right because he's been missing kicks like this all year long. Sure enough, ball snap, kick is up, and it goes wide right. And, the manager back it up, and he goes, I can't believe you guys called that. He goes, I told you. He goes, he's been missing kicks wide right all year, just from that hash mark. So, that's kind of, my, as much as I don't really know about Scott Norwood, and I've done a little bit of research to the 90 Bills, and obviously because, you have guys like Chip Kelly and Andre Reed and Bruce Smith, and, it's one of the best eras to be a Buffalo Bills fan. That was just, unfortunately, I was born right in the middle of that. So, this is kind of my sort of, kind of rendition to the 90s Bills. But obviously, even these Bills players now have said that we don't want the comparison to that because, those teams those 90s teams are way better than these teams are now, just because, the Bills haven't made the Super Bowl yet.
Yeah.
Since then. So, that's...
Yeah.
But I think it's coming. We're getting there.
Yeah, definitely.
Slow,
I think the Bills are definitely a team to watch out for, and they've definitely proven that with today's game. Trash, you want to go ahead and give out the football scores?
Sure can. All right, so I will say very close games. There were no blowouts for the most part. We'll start off with the Giants and football team. Giants take that one 23-20. Titans-Bears. Titans win 24-17. Vikings surprisingly defeat the Lions 34-20.
Let me stop you there, Trash. Why do you say surprisingly? Did you think that was going to be an easy game for
no. I know Stafford is very, very, very underrated. I know the announcers brought it up. Our defense, it has fallen apart with trades and injuries and free agency the last couple seasons. Kirk Cousins has looked horrible through the first, I want to say, at least 4 or 5 weeks this season. We lost our star running back in Dalvin Cook, who had a monstrous game today, and he's our entire offense. Harrison Smith, our free safety, got into some heat with the refs, and it wasn't coming together. Now, I do think this is kind of that turning point, as now we're going. I think we're 3-5 now after today. So I definitely do think this is a turnaround. But we also do have one of the hardest schedules in the entire league, which even shocks me more, because I think at least from 2017 to like 19 or something, we've made at least a wild card game. So it's hard because when you have a rough start to the season and your players just aren't performing. Boom, I know you probably know what's coming, but I gotta say anyways. Stephon Diggs.
Boomshakalaka! Boomshakalaka! Boomshakalaka!
I had to. Me and Boom. We traded one of a top receiver in Stephon Diggs to the Bills for what, like a 5th, 6th, 7th round draft pick? It seems like
for a bag of footballs.
Yeah, and like that's the stupidest trade, especially when we take down a powerhouse team, and I think the 2017 wildcard game in the Saints with the Minneapolis Miracle. And then we cut and we trade away our quarterback that took us to the NFC Championship game that year. Okay, yeah, we lost that year, but to the championship. And then we just, we're like, forget you, we're trading you away for basically nothing. And what we got back in return, I don't even think have stepped on an NFL field for the past 3-4 seasons. So our team's slowly but surely falling apart. But as I'm looking at this, and we finally won a home game. Today was our first home win. But we play next week the Monday night game against the Bears. If we don't win that game, I'm gonna be mad. So especially looking at these two upcoming games, they should be a win for both games. And I do think this is that turnaround point in the season where the Vikings are gonna start firing on cylinders and all that. So I do think that we're going to be better these next couple games, at least next two for sure, at least we should. Otherwise, I am not going to be happy, but that's besides the point. But like I said earlier, and that's what I was saying too, with the Lions, because if you got, Boom, I know you probably will answer this better. Who on earth is their starting running back? You've got Adrian Peterson, Kerryon Johnson, DeAndre Swift. It seems like every single play they're switching between the three.
Wait, Adrian Smith is, or Adrian, I can't. Okay, who did you say? I can't remember his name. Adrian Peterson, of course. He's still in the league?
Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that. I thought he was retired because the lifespan for a running back isn't that long anymore. So, okay, I'm sorry.
For what? Yeah. He is very slowly, falling or declining, but he still has his talent. He's not gonna be one of your guys like he used to when he's gonna go and strike for big runs. I mean, he can get you maybe 5 to 10 yards a carry or whatnot.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah, I know.
With
let me just
with Dalvin Cook.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say, Adrian, my most memorable moment of Adrian Peterson was in the Fiesta Bowl when they played Boise State. The Oklahoma Sooners played Boise State, and Boise State won that game on the Statue of Liberty play. So I'm giving my Boise State a little pump up there after they got their butts beat by BYU this few days ago. So, yeah. Okay, I'll let you finish your Dalvin Cook story.
So, I learned this today. The announcer saying when Pearson, I think, was injured with his ACL and was out the entire year, Dalvin Cook was the backup. And now you look back, I mean, he's, whether I'm biased or not, you can't deny that he's easily top 5 running back in the league.
Okay.
But it's funny because, I look at this with Jimmy Garoppolo too. You're backing up one of the greatest halfbacks of all time. I think Pearson's 5th all-time in rushing yards right now. But Cook took his game a whole nother level after he became a starter. And it's interesting because, like I said, what I was saying with Pearson is, he's going to start progressing and kind of slowing down. But I think right now he's 36. So, I mean, he's got a couple of years yet. But then you look at Brady and he's almost 50. And like, okay, when on earth are you retiring? And it's interesting, but he's not going to be anything big like he used to in like the early 2010s or I think like the year at like 11, 12, whatever, when he was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't expect a lot of him out of him. I am upset that he did sign a 1-year deal with a rival team, but that's not relevant. But but I think I do think that he's not starter material anymore. And if I'm the Lions, I would start the rookie in DeAndre Swift. Again, my opinion. As much as
Yeah.
I love Adrian Peterson, I just think that's the right move.
Right.
But yeah, continuing with the scores, Chiefs barely, and I mean barely, sneak out a win against the Panthers, 33-31.
Yeah.
Ted,
To me, that was surprising because I thought the Chiefs were just going to run away with that game.
oh yeah,
And we can just touch on that because that shows the importance of Christian
the
McCaffrey in that offense.
Texans win
Oh, absolutely.
27-25 over the Jaguars. Colts fall short to the Ravens, 24-10. Buffalo surprisingly beats the Seahawks 44-34.
Nobody circles the wagon quite like the
Falcons
Buffalo
over
Bills.
Broncos, 34. The Raiders.
Hold on! I got something. I got something for that.
Boomshakalaka!
Okay.
Boomshakalaka! Boomshakalaka!
Okay, there you go.
The Chargers fall short to the Raiders, 31-26. Steelers, really, I know we'll go on this in a second. Steelers Cowboys game, Dallas does fall short, sadly, 24-19. And
Can
to
we
wrap it
just-
out with the final two games, with the Sunday game was Dolphins Cardinals. Cardinals fall short by a field goal, being 34-31. And the Thursday night game, which was a horrible game, but that's besides the point. Packers take that one very, very, very easily, 34-17. As we speak, we have the Saints running away with the game against the Buccaneers, 31-0 start of the fourth. And tomorrow's game is the Patriots taking on the New York Jets.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and touch on that Steelers Cowboys game. You go ahead and take it there, Boom.
I kind of want to touch on that because I did catch the majority of that game. What a performance by Garrett Gilbert!
Absolutely.
I mean, the guy was phenomenal for basically, an unknown quarterback. Essentially, the Dallas Cowboys, I guess, fourth string quarterback. You'd say, because DiNucci went out and Dalton's down, and obviously Prescott's out. To go in, obviously you're at home, so it's going to be a big advantage. But to go against an undefeated Steelers team and for the most part almost pull off the upset,
Right.
And I think that would have been a big boost to the morale of the Dallas Cowboys and to that division, which is just god awful. I mean, what a performance! But Big Ben showed why he's still one of the elite quarterbacks in the league to be able to make those timely throws and those tight windows to guys like Claypool and Juju Smith-Schuster, and he's got a nice young receiving core there that's definitely going to play out for him for the next how many years he wants to be a quarterback, and it showed the resiliency of the Pittsburgh Steelers today, because you kind of get knocked on your ass for the first half of the game. And I was completely surprised. I said before the start of the game, I go, this is going to be a Steelers blowout. It's going to be 34-7, easily. And in halftime, I think they were, the Cowboys were up by 3 points.
Yeah.
So it just, I think they have there's some bright spots for the Cowboys, but it just shows the resiliency of those Pittsburgh Steelers.
Absolutely. And I'll be the first one to say that I thought that Big Ben should have retired last year, or was going to retire last year. I thought that with that injury that he suffered, that's going to be it for him. But he's come back strong. I mean, he's really surprised me, and I'm sure a lot of other people. Mike McCarthy. If Mike McCarthy finishes, let's say 4-12, 5-11, do you think his job is going to be in jeopardy?
I would
I
say
say no. Even with him in Green Bay, had a phenomenal record, good track record with him. But I saw the same thing with Jason Garrett. Garrett was pretty good for the Cowboys, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they fired him. But I think if they can give McCarthy a chance, I believe it's only his first season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you gotta remember
Yep.
that Dak is out, and that's one of your main pieces. I think there's some other guys that are out, but if you can have a full, healthy team, uh, and have a good coach as McCarthy, they could potentially make that push. But it depends on what the front office wants. If they don't want McCarthy around anymore for another season, then they're probably gonna fire him.
Mm-hmm.
But as much as I hate McCarthy being the Packer coach, you gotta give credit where it's due. You know, he's a phenomenal coach. He did great things for the Packers, and you're starting to see that with the Cowboys. I don't see a reason to fire him, especially because it's his first season, and I would, especially because you have yet to see McCarthy and Dak kind of work together, like Belichick and Brady, Sean Payton and Breeze. So I guess give it some time, and I would say at least give McCarthy 2 or 3 more seasons to see what he really can do with that team.
Okay. Go ahead, Boom, and let me hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I think it's a yes to no on the hot seat question because I think obviously he's on the hot seat because of the team he coaches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jerry Jones is very outspoken. He wants success. He wants it now, and you know, the only real reason Jason Garrett lasted that long was because you know Jerry Jones liked him, and you know he really thought he could do something with that team. And at the end of the day, he was kind of like, all right, well, I guess we've kind of hit our rope here, but. Yeah, no, to kind of touch on Trash's point a little bit, I think that he shouldn't be fired because basically the injuries he's had to deal with, it's very similar to what Rojas had to deal with as the first year of the Mets manager. You know, he had injuries, opt-outs, you know, that offensive line for the Cowboys isn't what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Travis Frederick retired, you know, a lot of injuries to that offensive line. They don't have the receivers that I mean, they do have the receiving core that they brought in CeeDee Lamb from Alabama, and they thought he was going to be great. He has really yet to take off because you know the chemistry between him and Prescott it just wasn't there yet before Prescott unfortunately got injured. Who was having again another great quarterback having an MVP kind of like season, and you know it kind of derailed what hope the Cowboys, in my opinion, had to win the division. You know, I really thought that, you know, Prescott was going to kind of carry them to that division title because, you know, really Zeke isn't playing up to you know, Ezekiel Elliott kind of football.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, Elliott's kind of pick up the slack here a little bit, and you're starting to see that a little bit. I think he had a better game today than he has, you know, the last couple of games, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's just kind of unfortunate what's happened to that team.
Yeah.
I say unfortunate, but I'm not really a Cowboys fan anyway. But,
Right.
You know,
Well,
so,
I will say the Cowboys definitely shot themselves in the foot when they had that third and I don't remember how long, and they had that roughing the quarterback call go against them, which allowed the Steelers drive to continue, and then they scored the winning touchdown. So that I don't think it's all on Mike McCarthy's fault. As I'm looking on here on some sports site, he is. Of course, this is a couple of weeks, maybe a week old article that him and Adam Gase of the Jets and I'm going to say Matt Patricia of the Lions and Zach Taylor of the Bengals are actually, and Doug Marrone of the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's a lot of rumors flying around about them, but I don't know. I think that Jerry Jones will probably keep him on for one more year, maybe 2, because yes, there have been some considerable injuries, and yeah, hopefully Dallas can turn things around next year for his sake. Is there anything else? Oh, let me who is our guest for next week? Trash, do you have that information?
I sure do. And now that you mentioned that, I'll kind of list off the upcoming and not just next week. Next week, we have Papa Vaz. I know that he was confirmed.
Yep.
The 22nd is Tis Meeks, and the 29th is Ricky Miller, or AKA Rickster Ghost.
That'll be a good one. And we had a huge confirmation. We haven't set a date when he's going to be on, but MLB The Show legend and Twitch partner, I believe, Kooks 46 is going to be on the podcast at some time. We're not sure when, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to all those guests coming on. As I was looking forward to you being on the show, Boom. It was nice to get to know you a little bit more and get to hear your takes. And it's been awesome having you on. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yes, thank you. This has been an absolute blast for me. Something I've always wanted to do, and you guys gave me the opportunity to do it. And this is a fantastic show that I think is just beginning, and I think you guys are really taking off with this thing. So, it's exciting for me to be a guest on this show and watch it kind of take off the way it has. And I definitely, if you guys ever wanted me back, by all means, just, jump in the DMs on Twitter and let me know. I would love to come back.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back on, that's for sure. Do you have any stats for us? I think you posted something on Twitter.
And I'm kind of bobbing about because I'm super excited to share this.
Yeah.
Boom, I know you said that we've been kind of taking off, which we have. For those, I do frequently check these stats, and thankfully I do.
Yeah. I think somebody actually listens to us in Germany, so thank you out there.
Yeah, we have 94, so the pretty much our core of our audience are here in the U.S. We have some in Canada, Ireland, and now Germany.
Oh, wow.
So, and not only that, but the exciting part is I'm looking at our episodes on this bar graph in terms of amount of plays. All of them, except for one, are in double digits. And we have really 3 that are neck and neck for taking that top spot in most plays. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on that one. Okay. But I keep saying, I said this from day one, the more that we continue to put out, the more guests that we can have, I do truly think that with just a matter of time, we could be exploding and being something really big. It's another reason why I want to keep pushing this. Now that I'm looking at the stat, through all our episodes, our all-time plays are at 90. So probably in a week or so, we're going to hit 100 total plays.
Nice.
Through all our episodes combined, which, to be honest, I never even thought we were going to get close to that. So,
that's awesome. That's great. We're going to have to, see if we can get some sponsors or something for the show.
That is definitely one of my goals for this, most definitely.
Well, does anyone else have anything we need to bring up before we close the show out?
I have one thing. I got one thing. I know I briefly told you this, I think. Just a brief thing on the Mets. And kind of Mets/free agents here, and I think Boom's exactly know where I'm going with this. They kind of cleared house on their catchers. They brought in a new owner. I'm hopping on the train now, and I'm saying JT Realmuto to the Mets, so I'm going to hop on that train. So I'm going to go grab myself a seat on that. Just start taking off, go, choo-choo. So I better go get my seat real quick.
Wow.
Not actually, but So,
yeah, I gotta say, I think that train was starting to leave the station even before we started playing baseball this year. Steve Cohen came in and he basically wiped out the whole front office. The day that I think that the sale was finalized, he got rid of Brody Van Wagenen, he got rid of Mania, he got rid of everyone, and he's starting fresh. So, you're going to see, I think Real Muto's going to come there. We're going to try to go hard, probably, I hope, after Trevor Bauer. That's my hope, is that, if Strowman doesn't want to come back, that we go out and get a guy like Trevor Bauer. I've heard talks about us trying to go after George Springer, which would be good. There's a lot of other trade talk.
I've even heard that Francisco Lindor is on the list of shortstops that they want to go after.
Yeah, that's that's something obviously that I would enjoy. But like I said, I think we have two great shortstops in Jimenez and Rosario. So, do I think that's top priority for the Mets? No. But, if the stars were to align and we were able to get Francisco Lindor along with, some of the other exciting free agents this year, I think that would be, again, on paper, would make another great Mets team to make a good run, hopefully with a World Series title hopefully next year or, the next couple of years.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, on that note, we will go ahead and close out this fine podcast. Thank you again, Boom. It's been a pleasure. Great job tonight, man. Great job.
Oh, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Like I said, I definitely want to come back. So, hit me up and we'll do this again. This is a whole lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This is Dodger Man and...
Crash.
And...
Boomshakalaka!
Saying good night, everyone. We'll see you next time. We're out.